Hello and welcome to the very first video for my new channel called Living in Gallatin. I'm excited you're here to go on this journey with me, and I just wanted to start this channel to tell a little bit of the amazing story that is Gallatin, Tennessee, from the people that are here, whether they're new here or they've been here their whole lives. That is my favorite part of Gallatin. There's amazing history here. There's amazing transformation and growth taking place, and there's a great effort to preserve the charm and the history that is Gallatin. And I'm a big fan of the people behind many of those efforts, and what they're doing to make those amazing things happen here in Gallatin. I just want to be able to tell a portion of that story here through my YouTube channel. And some of you may be wondering who I am. I'm Erik Thornton. I'm a local realtor that has really just grown to appreciate what this community has to offer. I appreciate what it's done for me and my wife since we moved here a few years ago. And if I can just highlight a few of the amazing things going on in this community, I'll consider it a success. But if that sounds like something that you might be interested in checking out and staying in touch with me on, please do like my videos as I release them. I would really appreciate that, and it'll help other people see kind of what we're trying to highlight here as well. If you know other people that might appreciate the content, if you'd share it with them, that would really be amazing. And just subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, do all the YouTube things so that you can stay in tune with the content as I release it. And I would love to interact with you. I always love meeting new people. Like I said, it's my favorite part of Gallatin is getting to connect with the amazing people that are here and learn their backstory and what they're up to, and learn learn where we can help each other, succeed in different ways. That's what community is all about. So please don't miss out. Please stay in touch with me on this. And for the very first video, I'm excited to bring you an interview that I recently conducted with our local Chamber of Commerce CEO, Kim Baker. I'm sure many of you know Kim. If you know Kim, you probably love Kim, or at least appreciate everything that she has a hand in making this community go. And she's an advocate for the community, and I think she's got great insight. So this is going to be a regular thing that Kim and I do. I'm going to bring you some consistent content from conversations with Kim, and we're going to dig into more specific things as we go. But for the sake of this conversation, we just started out with, hey, what makes Gallatin great? And of course, the people came up, and I won't ruin the surprise for everything else. But I appreciate Kim's insight. I appreciate her friendship, and I really appreciate her willingness to sit down and spend some time with me to help tell that story about Gallatin, Tennessee. So thanks for checking out my Living in Gallatin channel. Please come back for more. And without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Kim Baker. Thank you.
No.
All right, so I am happy to be sitting here today with Miss Kim Baker, the CEO of the Gallatin Chamber of Commerce, who has become also a great friend to me as we run in the same circles in Gallatin. And I think, as you'll find out as we continue with this series, Kim is at the center of a lot of things in Gallatin. That's one of the many things that I admire about her. And I'm excited today just to kind of kick things off with just a high-level conversation, Kim, about your opinion as somebody at the center of most things Gallatin, in my opinion. What makes Gallatin so great? We were the friendliest city.
Nicest
place. Sorry. Yeah, nicest place. It was right before I got here, but it's still nice even though I'm here now. But it's the nicest place in America. And I've come to find that that's true with my experience here. And, I would just love to hear, a little bit from you about what you think makes Gallatin so great.
Absolutely. And first, let me say thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for celebrating and showcasing Gallatin in this way. I think it's really special. I think there's a lot that we can share and collaborate on. And I'm also thankful for our friendship. And that's my favorite part about my role here at the Chamber is when these memberships and business connections lead into great friendships too. So thanks for that. I'll lead with a funny story. So I'm not from Gallatin. A lot of people would think I'm born and raised Gallatin, been here my whole life, and I'm not. I've been here 22 years. No, well, 22. It'll be 23 in the summer of 2023. And when I moved here from South Florida. So it was a little bit of a culture shock. I was a teenager when I relocated here, and I was really mad at my parents for a while because I was certain that they had brought me to the sticks because Gallatin 23 years ago looked a lot
different.
different than Gallatin today. And so I didn't like them for a while. But one of my first memories here, and I lived in between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. So not always the best parts of town, right? And we moved here, I remember we were pulling into our neighborhood, and my mom was waving at people. And I thought, my mom's really social. So I was like, Mom, have you already gotten out and met these neighbors? And she said, No, Kim, we're in the South and people here are friendly and nice. And I think about that so much when I think about the people of Gallatin, because you're right. They're nice. We didn't just get this title and let it go. In fact, I was actually recently working on something and somebody else said, well, that's kind of old news. I said, I don't think it is though. Like, yes, that was in 2017. We were named nicest place in America by Reader's Digest. And I'll share the link so you can share that story because it's a really great story about how our community comes together, overcomes hardships together, and really navigates difficult times, past and present. But I think that it's not old news because I think, just like you said, people are nice. And when you meet them, and whether you're new or you've been here your whole life, they welcome you, they embrace you. I remember I was the new kid 3 times at 3 different sets of schools here. And one of them was my senior year of high school. I was brand new at Gallatin High School, and that was a really hard time to transition into a new school. And I have a core group of friends who they're still my friends today. I actually saw most of them over the holidays. And they embraced me. They were like, hey, we know you're new. Like, they probably really didn't need any new friends because it was senior year. We were all getting ready to go to college. And they decided to be my friend anyway. And I think that's the same. I see that all the time in different generations and different like circles and cycles of life. And people are welcoming and inviting. And I think it's a part of Gallatin spirit.
I could not agree more. As somebody who came here almost 4 years ago, time flies. That still holds true, in my opinion, in Gallatin today. And that has been my favorite thing about, coming to town and trying to start a business, and
Absolutely.
yourself included. And there's so many great resources in town where those people congregate that that want to be welcoming and want to help each other succeed, whether they're new here or whether they've been here their entire life. That's been my experience too. And it's great to see where you get the social side of your nature from your mom.
Oh, yes.
You must get that honest.
But both my parents, my dad was extremely social as well.
Yeah.
But my mom's never met a stranger. She could walk in right now and take my seat, have a very similar conversation with you. Just
Awesome.
let's talk about it.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Sounds lovely. So in your experience, if maybe they're brand new to town, maybe they've been here forever, doesn't really matter. If they're looking to get, plugged in some of the things that you admire about Gallatin, where should somebody look to? Where should somebody try to get involved, to kind of experience Gallatin?
I think there's a few different answers. I think I would not be a very good chamber representative if I didn't put my chamber hat on for this one and say, if they are in the business realm, like if they are still a working individual or even if they're not, but primarily those, and that's who find a good place in the chamber, those who are still looking to make business related connections. With my chamber hat on, but even if I took it off and I think I stepped out and left the chamber, looking back in, knowing what we do and knowing the connections and relationships we help cultivate, I think that the chamber is at the center of making those connections because I think there's a little bit of something for everybody. We do have a lot of retired individuals that join the chamber strictly to just make connections and stay active in the community, to stay in the know. We have a lot of young and up and coming individuals, young professionals, even high school students, college students who still don't really know what path they want to be on, but they know that they want to build community. And so I think this is a good place. Gallatin has a really strong faith community.
Okay.
I don't think that is something that we should forget about. I think that Gallatin is a strong community of faith, and if you are a person of faith, or even if you're not, our churches and our nonprofits that are faith-based offer a lot of opportunity for connections. I still think that churches are a great place for those who are coming in the area to feel welcome and invited, and I do believe that majority of our churches and institutions of faith offer authentic welcomes, and they really want you there, and they really care about you and want to love on you. I think also our nonprofits are a great way to get involved, and I think that's for everybody, but I see a lot of retirees coming into our community, and those folks, or maybe they're at the end of their career, they're not quite retired, but they're ready to transition into that next phase of life. And I think that that's a great way for them to get plugged in, because they can get to know the community, they can give back, they can use their time, their treasures, and their talents, and then they can build their own network of folks.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. And I think that's one of the things that has stood out to me since coming to Gallatin a few years ago is specifically the nonprofit sector. I described as very unique, like borderlining on special. Do you have
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of some insight as, whether it's networking with people in similar positions to yourself in other communities, or do you have any insight on kind of what makes that nonprofit community so special here?
I'll say that our nonprofits have always been special, right?
Okay.
And as long as I've been here at the chamber almost 10 years, and our nonprofits have always been just really connected, really, in tune with what's going on in the community. But we've really reached a season where what I like to say is that we have aces in our places. We have the right leaders in the right places, and we have these leaders that are willing to collaborate, and they're less concerned about competing with each other and less concerned about competing for donor dollars or ask or things like that, and more concerned about how can we work together? How can we truly offer wraparound services and safety net services that meet the needs of our growing community? And we see our community come together time and time again, and specifically our nonprofit leaders. They say, well, we don't have that service, but we're going to send you over here. Or, oh, we know that you donate to our organization or you contribute, and perhaps that you want to give in a bigger way or to a different type, or, oh, you care about children instead of this. Well, let me lead you to this organization. And I think I see a lot of that. And I talk to leaders across the country that are in the chamber industry and in the economic development realm. And all communities don't function like this. And I'll say that, our businesses are the same. There was a point early on in my chamber career where we had businesses that refused to sell the same products as each other. And I'm talking like, maybe we have a restaurant that won't sell coffee, like drip coffee, because there's a coffee shop nearby or things like that. And I'm like, wait a second. But now we've really got this collaborative spirit and synergy saying, you know what, we're going to have this, but if you you can get a coffee after your lunch, but if you want a really good coffee, you probably should go down the road, right? But if you want to have one while you're here at your table and me put it on your check, that's fine. But the spirit is so different here than what I hear it's like in other communities. And I really think it goes back to just that Gallatin way, the niceness, the collaborative efforts. And I think it's a lot of leadership and modeling. And, I think it takes that. I think it takes some business leaders or some nonprofit leaders extending that offer of friendship and collaborative efforts for it to kind of take off.
Yeah, they're setting the example for sure.
I think so.
And I'll give a plug for Leadership Gallatin, because some of what Kim was just saying there with the nonprofit panel that we had a couple of years back, it was great just to see that many of them in one room and just kind of talking
Working
about
together.
how they complement one another's efforts, and they'll make referrals to one another because they all kind of have their specialty where they can really make an impact in someone's life. But if that's not their lane, they know someone who can help that individual.
Absolutely. And they've all gotten really good about that too. Like, I know that's not where we're strong. And, if you've ever worked with a nonprofit or you've served with a nonprofit, specifically like on a board, nonprofits, I know because I'm affiliated with several and I help run one. But we are notorious for getting off track and doing things that aren't mission focused. And it's so easy for that to happen because you might come in and say, hey, Kim, I know this is the chamber, but I saw that we really need help with, I don't know, something just crazy. A great example, in 2020, I was sitting here, of course, the world was kind of shut down, and somebody was knocking on the door, and I went out there, and it was a man. He had a sewing machine in his hand, a brand new one, and then he had his minivan open, and I could tell there's a ton of sewing machines, and he said, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I got all these sewing machines, and I was told that if I brought them to the chamber, you would help them, so where should I put them? And he just started to walk in. And of course, 2020 was a different time. And so I was like, just put them in here. And so I had to text the staff and I said, hey, just if anybody comes by, there's like 15 sewing machines. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them, but we'll figure it out. But things like that happen to nonprofits all the time. I know Bethany at the Shalom Zone, and my husband runs a museum, Ryan Baker. He'll get calls, or people will show up with artifacts and say, "Hey, I found this when we were cleaning out my mom's house, and I think it belongs in the museum." And you and I know, like, we have things that are really special to us, but that doesn't necessarily make them a historical artifact. But for the longest time, things like that were intercepted at the museum, and so they had to cull through all of that. Same thing happens at places like the Shalom Zone. Walk in the middle of the year, bring a bunch of coats, and it's like, no, we don't really do a coat drive, but we'll take them anyway. And so if somebody walked in today and said, "Hey, Kim, I've got a dozen sewing machines," I would have to find somewhere else for them to go. But I say that because that's where nonprofits can play a part in getting to know those other services and staying in their lane. But, also staying in your lane is not turning those resources away. Hey, we don't take coats here, but the Shalom Zone or United Way does a coat drive, so you should probably drive them down there, or I'd be happy to take them there and educating those individuals like where they actually need to go.
Yeah.
So.
And I guess you get a reputation for being helpful to someone in need.
Yeah.
That knows no boundaries.
And that's
You
not
just
a
say
bad-
yes
that's-
and figure it out later.
Exactly. And that's not a bad thing. But the important part is knowing where actually to send those. So you're not turning them away and saying, "We don't do coats." And then just, I don't know who does that. Actually telling them. Because there were leaders at one time that would say that that's not our thing and just shipping them away. And then the coats go to waste.
Sure. I think it's a much better example to say yes and figure it out later, I guess.
Absolutely.
Well, let's kind of put a bow on things a little bit with, Gallatin as it stands now and over the past few years has been that super nice place with super nice people. But it's no secret that secret is out. We've got great new people coming here all the time, looking to relocate their family or retirees, whatever the reason is. How do you think Gallatin maintains, that culture that's made it such a great place to this point? I know there's I hear talk from leaders, about, the plan to keep the charm of the downtown, but also accommodate the growth and those sorts of things. But from your perspective, what do we have to do to maintain that?
Well, it's funny because there's a sign that's hanging over your head. I don't know if everybody can see it, but it's actually "Remember Your Roots." And my desk, if my desk faces this, so I look at that every day, and that's just a reminder for me and everybody that walks into this space that we have to remember that. We have to remember kind of our humble beginnings and remember how we got to where we are. We got to where we are because of everything we did and all the hard work we put in. Some of it we asked for, some of it we haven't. But a lot of it is just a testament to how we've treated people and how we've taken care of our community. And I think we have to continue to do that. Keeping that charm. There's ways, and this we could talk about probably for a whole episode, but just how we maintain that charm and what we do to foster that. And I think one of the things, and this is something I'm extremely passionate about, is that business development piece, specifically those small businesses, making sure that they can still have a place here to be successful. And the number one way we do that is by supporting them and making sure that we're giving back. We hear folks say, "Hey, we want this. Hey, we want this. We want more of this." Well, the number one way we get more of those other things is by taking care of what we have. And because those folks that are looking into our area to bring other brands here, whether it's a small startup or a national brand that's moving from another state, those folks are looking into our community and seeing everything that's already here and seeing what kind of success they're experiencing. And so those small businesses help us have that unique charm. I think also, there's a lot of things we can do to protect historic sites and assets, making sure we're contributing to those and not just writing them checks, but also visiting them and going to their events and telling their stories. You mentioned Leadership Gallatin. We spend a whole day exploring the history of our community because as leaders, it's important that those individuals understand where we've been and where we came from, that they remember our roots and they know that story. I think the other part of it is that we continue to be welcoming and inviting.
Yeah.
Our community is going to continue to become more diverse and different, and that's not a bad thing. And a lot of people, it's new to them, it's different than them. Some people have never left Gallatin or Sumner County. My husband's a 9th generation Sumner Countyan. And so this is a big change for people that have those deep roots here, seeing us change in so many ways. And I think just remembering who we are, where we came from, and just spreading that spirit and letting them see that, and then it becomes a part of them too. You're a great example. You've been here 3 or 4 years. I think I'm a great example. Debbie Haddock that works in my office, she moved here after Hurricane Katrina. She fell in love with the people here. She came here to kind of right immediately after the hurricane. And then she was like, you know what, we're going to sell our house, what's left of it, and move here. And so I think that, and then you would never know that she wasn't from here. I wouldn't know you weren't from here. You do have an accent, but
No, I don't. We'll edit that accent out.
but I mean, I think that's it. I think we just continue to perpetuate that that kindness, that niceness that we've all been sharing and bragging about, and continue to show it. You know, welcome new people to our area, show them our ways. You know, people say all the time, "Oh, they're moving here from XYZ place. They're going to change everything." Don't let them.
Right.
Tell them
Yeah.
what it is we like about our community, and tell them why we like it, and then show it to them.
Yeah.
That's why they moved here. They like it too.
Yeah,
So.
couldn't have said that better. That was spot on. And for anybody that's watching this who has been here in Gallatin forever, or just a long time, hey, as somebody who's moved here in the last few years, we appreciate you guys just opening your arms, opening your community to accept new people, and you guys have made it just what a great place it is that attracts so many. So, Kim, I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to more of these.
Absolutely.
I hope you guys will keep tuning in to my Living in Gallatin channel here. This is going to be a monthly thing that Kim and I do together. We wanted to set the stage today, just, hey, what makes Gallatin so great? But there are so many topics that we can dive into as we go, and that's exactly what Kim and I will do in the months to come. And I hope you will stay tuned and share this with anybody that you think might find value in it. So, until next time, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.